So I am here today to talk a little bit about Janome file formats. And one of the reasons why I have decided to address this issue has two main reasons, actually. The first being that recently on our digitizing group, the question has come up about the need to save designs as a particular format. And that format that I am addressing today is the Jef Plus format, which is one of the formats that is used in the Janome sewing machines. So this doesn't necessarily apply to everybody except those of us that are sewing and embroidering on Janome embroidery sewing machines. And the second reason why is because way back when I first began to work at a Janome dealership, I was coming from a different brand of sewing machine, and I was not familiar with the Janome formats myself. And the owner of the business had a real pet peeve, and that was whenever she was shopping online and seeing the variety of designs that were being offered and the formats being offered by various digitizers. And when she would see that Jef Plus format being offered as one of the formats that you could purchase or to download, it just bugged her to death because she would say they don't know what a Jef Plus is. Well, what is a Jef Plus? I'm here to explain that to you. So what I have done is I've opened up my Hatch embroidery digitizing program, and I've created just a 2-object design here on the screen to demonstrate what a Jef format is and what it is not. So we're going to start off here in a digitizing program. And as most of you know, because you are digitizers, you will know that when you are working in Hatch and also in the Digitizer MBX version of software programs, when you've created a design, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you are going to want to come over to your output design section, which is over here on the left-hand side of the screen. And you're going to save this design. And the reason why you're going to save it is because you've put hard work into it. And you are just going to want to save that so that when you have decided that you want to do some changes to it in the digitizing program, you're going to have the original native format so that you will have something to come back to and alter if needed. Okay, so what I have here on my screen, as I said before, is I've come over to my exporting design. And it's just called Design 1. And in this program, it's going to give me the option of saving it in a variety of different .emb formats. The first one that comes up is the plain old .emb. If you are running Digitizer MBX, you're going to have 2 versions of EMB available. You're going to have this one that's called .emb, and I believe you'll have one that's called E3. And in addition to that, you will also have the JAM format, which is the older version that's available in, it was used in all of the previous versions of MBX programs. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you are going to save this design in its native format. Mine is already saved. You can see it here as design1.emb. So I'm not going to resave it. I'm just going to hit cancel. I just wanted to show you that that's step 1 of saving your digitized design. The second step of saving your digitized design, which is going to help me to explain to you the difference between Jef and Jef Plus, is you are going to export it. When you export the design, it's going to save it as a machine format. This is a stitch format. Because my machine has been selected as my Janome Memory Craft 15000, the first option that's going to come up when I hit my export design is the .jpx format. And that's fine. I'm going to keep it as design1.jpx. But if I were to select the type of machine that I want to save this file for, I can click this down arrow on the Save as Type. When I do that, you're going to see this window open up, and it's going to give us, first of all, the Janome versions that are available. Again, because my machine is selected as a Janome machine. And then it's going to go on down to the various other machine brands that this will save stitch files for. You're going to notice that right here for the Janome machines, it's going to only give me Jef.jpx, which is for the newer machines, .sew, which is for the older Janome, Elna, and Kenmore machines, and then the newer version for the Elna machines. no Jef Plus, and there's a reason why. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. It is saved as a design 1 JPX, and I'm going to say save. Okay, so right off the bat, because I'm in digitizing software, you're going to see that that was not an option that was available, correct? I'm now going to minimize that, and I'm going to open my Horizon Link suite for my Janome 15,000 sewing machine. I'm going to open the embroidery link tool, and when this screen opens up, it's going to give me a couple of different options for working with embroidery designs. First thing I want you to notice is that it's not readily available for you to see this, but what you're going to see here is that it's only going to work with Janome formats, or the DST, which is a commercial format. When I've opened up the screen in embroidery link tool, what you see in the gridded area is the size of the hoop that is currently selected for your machine. When I come to embroidery edit, I'm just going to click the down arrow, and I'm going to confirm that what has been selected is the square 23 hoop, and that's the size of this grid that you see. Okay, if I was going to work with the GR hoop, you can see that when I selected it, it did change the size of the white gridded area that's available on the screen. Just wanted to make that clear real quickly. I'm going to come back to my square 23. I'm going to hit my view button, and I'm going to say fit in the window. And it has maximized the area that I'm able to see right at this point. This is not a class on learning to use Horizon Link Suite, so I'm just going to continue on with my demonstration. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that that was the size of the hoop. Okay, what I'm going to come to do now is I'm going to open my home screen. I'm going to use my design import button, and I'm going to come to the design folder, which is all the built-in designs that came with the Janome 15,000 machine. I'm going to open the Monochrome Design, and I'm just going to select one design. It opens in the middle of the screen, and you're going to see it over here on the design list on the far right side of the screen. I'm going to come back to my home button, and I'm going to come to the design selector again. I'm going to select one more design, and this time what I'm going to do with it is I'm just going to move it off a little bit to the right. I am going to edit it, and I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. I'm going to pop it over here onto the upper right hand corner of the screen. I'm going to corner it, so now I've got 4 of those green designs on my screen. You're going to see on the design list that I've got my original in the center, and I now have 4 that have been duplicated into the corners. If I wanted to adjust these, I could select each one individually, change the color, change the position, or do whatever I wanted with them. Okay, so what I have just created is a very simple layout that could be stitched in one hooping in my square 23 hoop. I'm going to come up to my Applications button. I'm going to come to Save As. When I select Save As, it's going to open up a folder on my computer screen, and this is going to be the last place where I was at that I actually saved something. And what I had saved there a little while ago was the design that I had been using on the Hatch digitizing program. It's not going to come up here because what I saved it as in Hatch was the native format of the EMB, so it's not listed. But what I've got going on now is an opportunity to change the name of my design, give it a file name. In other words, you're going to see that the Save As file type is a Jef Plus. And I'm just going to call this, I'm going to leave the name as an Untitled, and I am going to save it as a Jef Plus, and I'm going to select Save. It's asking me if I want to replace it. I'll say yes for this demonstration purpose. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to come back to the Applications button. I'm going to save this as not a Jef Plus this time. This time I'm going to save it as a regular Jef. It's still called Untitled, and it's Jef, and I'm going to say Save, and it says it already exists because I have done this exercise a couple of times before, so I am going to replace it, and I will say yes. Okay, what I'm going to demonstrate to you now is the difference between that Jef file and the Jef Plus file. I am going to come to a new page. I am going to go back to the Home button. I'm going to come to Designs. I'm going to navigate on my screen to the place where my designs are saved. And on my machine, You're going to see I've got a ton of stuff here. It's in my Windows C, Fabby's embroidery. It's going to take me a while to get there, I'm sorry, because I wasn't there recently, and I am in explanations. Okay, so these were the designs that I saved out of Hatch. These are the two that I've been working on now. I'm going to first of all show you my Jef Plus. Here it is. When it first opens on the screen, you're going to see that the very last design that was propagated when I used the cornering function has the green box around it, which shows that it is selected. The point I'm making here is that each section of the design is still its own individual object. It used Jef objects and it duplicated them and it kept each one as its own object. Okay, I'm going to come back and I am now going to open. I'm going to get a new page, open a new design. I'm going to get the one that's just the plain old Jef. And there it is. What do you see on the design list? One object. Each one of the green pieces is stuck together with the maroon piece that's in the middle. It is a Jef file, does not preserve the properties as each individual object. Alright, so when you are shopping on the internet and you find a designer who is selling you a Jef Plus file, it probably is not a real Jef Plus. What Jef Plus is it's Jef files that you have used to combine into one hooping, and it has preserved them as individual objects. Their original Jef files are separate pieces. This same process happens whenever you use your edit screen in your embroidery machine on your Janome 11,000, 12,000, 14,000, 15,000, and I think also the Skyline 9 as well as the 9900. Will all create layouts in the edit mode, and it will save your files as Jef Plus files, which means that your pieces are all still individual pieces. So hopefully that helped you to understand a little bit better about the difference between a Jef and a Jef Plus, how they are created and how they are different from one another. Thanks for watching.